Discover the incredible story of a girl who gave up meals for books. Her heartwarming journey inspires a whole town. Sarah Martin was just 15, but she held the weight of the world on her shoulders. In her struggling Rust Belt town, hope seemed like a distant dream, and the worn-out streets reflected the fight in her heart. Raised by her devoted grandmother, a proud veteran who worked tirelessly in their family-run diner, Sarah was determined to escape her surroundings. Every afternoon, she devoured her textbooks, mentally calculating how much each one cost. Her heart raced with ambition. Could she really attend a prestigious university someday? Yet, economic hardship suffocated her dreams, thickening the air with long work hours, layoffs, and snide whispers of social prejudice. Determined to save every penny, Sarah made a decision that curled her grandmother's brow with worry she would forego her daily meals. The thought of a used textbook was worth sacrificing the leftovers from the diner. Each day, as Sarah watched her friends chow down in the lunchroom, she felt the pang of emptiness in her stomach mirror the longing in her heart. Yet, the more she saved, the more isolated she became. Whispers mimicked her sacrifice, and the jealous eyes of her peers dug deeper into her resolve. Where friendships had once bloomed, competition flourished. Then life hit hard. One night, a frantic call shattered her world. Her grandmother had collapsed at the diner. Dread twisted in Sarah's stomach, stronger than hunger. Racing to the hospital, she faced a gut-wrenching choice: her dreams or her family. The woman who once wore her uniform with pride, who had fought for freedom, lay vulnerable. Guilt swirled within her, urging Sarah to stay. Could she leave the woman who had given so much behind while chasing a future that glimmered like a faraway star? But something beautiful emerged from the darkness. Her classmates, witnessing her struggles, began to unite. A bake sale here, a fundraiser there, they rallied around her, igniting warmth in what once felt like a Cold War. The power of community unfolded. Sarah watched as her peers, who had once whispered behind her back, now chanted her name, filling the air with kindness. The feeling was electric. A fragile yet fierce determination surged through everyone. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as the tide of support brought Sarah a gleam of hope, a showdown with her doubters loomed. The visceral energy culminated as she stepped into the diner, the familiar scent of coffee filling the air, now tinged with an electric anticipation. Friends, family, and neighbors gathered around, their faces bright with excitement. The warmth flooded over her, yet a haunting question remained: could she truly balance her dreams with her responsibilities? As cheers erupted, Sarah's heart raced with uncertainty. She glanced out at the sea of faces, each one representing her home and her aspirations. The weight of the moment pressed down, leaving readers anxiously wondering which path would lead her into a brighter future. Sarah stood at the threshold of her grandmother's diner, the door creaking softly as she pushed it open. The smell of fresh coffee collided with the aroma of grilled sandwiches, but today, the diner felt different. Today, it pulsed with energy, a vibrant reminder that she was not alone in this fight. "Sarah! You came!" A voice rang out. It was Mia, her childhood friend, bouncing over with a tray of baked goods piled high. "These are for you. We want you to win that scholarship." Sarah felt her cheeks flush as she took in the spread. Cookies, cupcakes, and brownies, all homemade and decorated with colorful icing, every single one a symbol of support. The other students were gathered around, all smiles and cheers, their faces glowing with excitement. "Thank you, Mia," Sarah said, her voice barely above a whisper. She glanced around the room, catching sight of familiar faces. They were no longer whispers of mockery but instead, voices of encouragement. What had happened to the competition? The jealousy? It was as if the universe had shifted overnight. "Let us show them what we can do," shouted Jake, the basketball star who had once been the source of her doubts. Now, he rallied the group. "Fundraiser starts tomorrow. We can do this." The energy in the room soared, and Sarah felt her heart lift. Maybe, just maybe, this wasn't a battle she had to fight alone. With every laugh, every smile, the weight on her shoulders began to lighten. Yet, as the cheers faded, a shadow of doubt crept in. What if all this support led to disappointment? What if the scholarship slipped through her fingers? Her grandmother's voice echoed in her mind, a gentle reminder of the sacrifices made, the hard work that filled their lives. Would it be enough? The bake sale day arrived. The sun peeked through the clouds, bathing the diner in a warm glow. Sarah's stomach twisted in knots as she watched students line up, eager to contribute. Each dollar exchanged for a sweet treat felt like an investment in her future. She served her neighbors, the people who had once looked at her with pity, now joining hands to lift her up. As the day unfolded, Sarah couldn't help but notice the changes within her community. Laughter echoed through the streets, conversations blossomed among people who had once kept their distance. The bakery's windows sparkled with life, and her heart expanded, filling with an indescribable warmth. But as dusk approached, so did the inevitable reality. The charity's check would soon arrive for the fundraiser, and Sarah knew she had a decision to make. Counting the dollars felt exciting but daunting. What if they raised enough? What if Sarah, come look? Mia shouted, pulling her from her thoughts. It's amazing how much we've raised. When Sarah approached, her heart sank momentarily. Fear mixed with awe as she looked at the towering pile of cash on the table. More than she ever dreamed they would raise. Yet the surge of joy was quickly replaced with the burden of choice. The scholarship required a significant commitment, and with this much support, would she still dare to chase her dreams? As they counted the last bills, a heavy silence settled over the group. Sarah felt the weight of anticipation in the air, an unspoken question hanging. Was she ready to step into a future that might lead her far away from everything she loved? She looked at the smiling faces surrounding her and felt the warmth in her heart. They believed in her. But could she trust herself to take that leap? The moment was electric. Would she embrace the unknown? Would she allow her dreams to flourish despite the fear? And as darkness fell, she knew a crucial choice was waiting. Would this be the beginning of her journey or the end of her fears? The following morning, Sarah sat at her kitchen table, the sunlight streaming through the window. It warmed her skin, but inside, she felt cold as ice. The pile of money from last night's bake sale sat heavy in her mind. Each bill felt like an anchor pulling her down into uncertainty. Would it really be possible for her to fly? Or were those dreams just that, dreams? Her grandmother bustled in, her apron dusted with flour, a warm smile stretching across her face. "Good morning, sweetheart. You look like you've seen a ghost." "Morning, Grandma," Sarah replied, forcing a smile. "I'm just thinking." Thinking can get you in trouble sometimes. It's good to make plans, but don't forget to look at the big picture. Sarah's heart squeezed. Grandma had been her rock for all these years, always reminding her to chase her dreams while grounding her with reality. But how could she balance those dreams with the expectations mounting from everyone around her? Do you think it's worth it? Going away for school? Leaving everything behind? Sarah asked hesitantly, knowing how much her grandmother had sacrificed for her. Her grandmother paused, leaning back in her chair as though weighing her words carefully. "What do you want, Sarah? What makes your heart sing?" The question hung in the air like a soft melody. Take the leap. Or cling to the familiar. "I want to be a writer. I want to tell stories," Sarah admitted, her voice trembling as she spoke. "But what if I fail? What if I leave and it's not enough?" She felt the tears well up, her fears bubbling to the surface. Every journey has its risks, darling. But the greatest failure is not trying at all. Grandma reached across the table, taking Sarah's hand in her own weathered grasp. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's moving forward despite it. Remember that. With renewed determination, Sarah wiped her eyes and took a deep breath. Okay, I'll make a choice. She needed to consult the only voice she hadn't heard since the fundraiser, the voice of her heart. That afternoon, she stood outside the diner, watching as the community buzzed with life. It felt different now, they were connected, each person part of a thread in the tapestry of her story. She could almost hear the echo of their cheers from the night before, breathing life into her distant dreams. As she stepped inside, Mia rushed over, her eyes bright with excitement. Did you decide? About the scholarship? I think I'm ready. But it terrifies me. So? That's normal. It means you're stepping up. Your dreams matter, Sarah. They always have. Before Sarah could respond, the diner's door swung open with a bang. In strolled Jake with his typical flair, a grin plastered across his face. All right, team. We need to talk about next steps. Let's keep this momentum rolling. Their enthusiasm was infectious, the fire spreading like wildfire among her peers. Sarah felt her heart race again, but this time with possibility. She could feel Grandma's words resonating deep within her, courage blossoming like wildflowers in spring. Just as they began discussing their ideas, a delivery truck pulled up outside the diner, the sound of the engine stirring an unexpected thrill within her. The driver hopped out, holding a large box, and approached the door. Is this the diner run by Sarah's grandma? Her breath caught. The universe had a way of compelling her forward, she realized. Rising hopes intertwined with looming uncertainties. And at that moment, so close yet out of reach, lay an opportunity that could change everything. What could possibly be in that box? The answer seemed to kindle new energy among the group. Sarah exchanged glances with Mia and Jake. With hearts beating in solidarity, they stepped forward together, waiting to uncover whatever surprise awaited. Was this the next step on her journey, or just another hurdle? The possibilities swirled, spinning dreams into action. What would it reveal about her future and the path she was destined to tread? The driver approached the counter, placing the box down with a thud that echoed in the diner. He wiped his brow and grinned, glancing around at the crowd gathering. Delivery for Sarah. Special package. Whispers spread through the diner like wildfire. Sarah felt a mix of excitement and apprehension, wondering what could possibly be inside. Her heart raced as she stepped forward. That's me, she said, trying to sound confident even as her hands trembled slightly. Here you go. The driver offered her the package, a hefty cardboard box with her name scrawled across the top in messy ink. Any idea what's in there? Mia asked, her voice bubbling with curiosity. No clue, Sarah replied, carefully prying the flaps apart. Inside, she found stacks of books, brightly colored and filled with vibrant covers, each one promising a new adventure. Her breath caught, overwhelmed by the sight. Books? She murmured, as if realizing a dream she didn't fully understand yet. They sent you a whole library. Jake exclaimed, beaming. This is amazing. Whoa, this can't be real. Sarah shook her head in disbelief, flipping through the titles. I've read some of these. They're classics. How did they even know? Mia leaned closer, scanning the stack. I bet some generous soul donated them as a gift for your scholarship. They must believe in you. The warmth in Sarah's chest spread as hope intertwined with gratitude. It felt as if this community, once just a backdrop to her life, had turned into a force lifting her toward her dreams. But then a thought crept in, a nagging voice whispering doubts. But what if it all goes away? What if I don't have what it takes? Seeing her hesitation, Grandma stepped forward, her presence a comforting anchor. Sometimes, Sarah, the universe gives you signs. This is one of them. You just have to be willing to take the leap. She could see the familiar sparkle in her grandmother's eyes, radiating faith in her. The words settled deep within Sarah's core, making the tremors inside her heart quiet. Okay, but what now? Sarah asked, glancing around at her friends, their faces filled with anticipation. We plan our next move, Jake said, his enthusiasm infectious. This isn't just a delivery, it's a call to action. You can write about these stories. Share their magic. Mia nodded vigorously. Think about it, Sarah. You could run a book club, maybe even involve the whole town. This is your chance to bring people together. The prospect electrified Sarah's mind. She could already picture it, a gathering of neighbors, all connected through the pages of a story, sharing laughter and tears over discussions that stretched long into the evenings. What if it could be something even bigger? She mused aloud, her imagination igniting. An event where we could showcase our own writings inspired by these stories. Now you're talking. Jake said, fist pumping the air. Leave it to Sarah to make books a community event. They brainstormed, ideas flowing like coffee in the diner's creamer pitcher, each person's excitement igniting the next. But somewhere amidst the laughter and plans, a shadow loomed in her thoughts, her fear of being seen, of being vulnerable in front of a crowd. What if they didn't like her stories? Mia seemed to read her mind. You don't have to be perfect, Sarah. Just be real. With those words, something shifted within her. She realized every bit of doubt she had carried could also be shaped into something beautiful. As her friends continued to plot and plan, Sarah felt a flicker of courage igniting within. But little did she know that the biggest challenge was yet to come. How would she handle it when her own fears threatened to drown out her dreams? Just then, a fleeting noise broke their circle of excitement, a distant rumble of thunder in the sky above. It was a stark reminder that storms were brewing, not just weather, but a chain of events about to unfold. Would Sarah be ready to face whatever came her way, or would her dreams slip through her fingers? What would this community's support really mean when she stood under the spotlight, bearing her heart? As the thunder rolled overhead, Sarah's thoughts darted between excitement and fear. The idea of a gathering, of sharing herself with the community, sent tingles down her spine, but the thought of standing in front of everyone made her stomach twist. Are you all right? Mia asked, noticing Sarah's sudden change in expression. Yeah, just thinking, Sarah replied, forcing a smile. What if I mess it up? What if they don't like my stories? Jake, ever the optimist, jumped in. You can't think like that. Everyone loves a good story, especially if it's from the heart. Just be you. You've got this. Sarah glanced at her friends, their faces filled with faith. Each encouraging word fueled her passion, but her doubts couldn't just wash away. The weight of expectation loomed larger with each minute spent contemplating her vision. Let us make this event count, Grandma said, stepping in with a firm tone. We'll start by gathering everyone's favorite stories. Who knows what it could inspire? The thought of inviting the entire town, sharing tales that mattered to them, seemed like a glimmering lifeboat in her stormy sea of doubt. Perhaps this was a way to bridge her insecurities. Collecting stories was about connection, not performance. Yeah. Everyone has something to share, Mia agreed, her eyes lighting up. We could create a collection of short stories, poems, the works. It could be a whole community anthology. The idea struck Sarah like lightning. An anthology. Each voice, unique and real. Their small-town stories bursting with truth, woven together into something beautiful. Let us do it. She said, her voice suddenly stronger. Let us invite everyone to contribute. I'll set up a flyer and start gathering submissions. The excitement bubbled over again, laughter ringing through the diner. Sarah felt warmth seep into her heart, appreciating how her dreams were surging towards reality with the help of her friends, but a subtle thought nagged at her mind. What if her stories weren't good enough? What if others didn't see the beauty in her words? Just as panic threatened to engulf her, she looked at her grandma. Just remember, sweet girl, Grandma said softly, her eyes sparkling with love. Every story matters. It's not about being the best, it's about sharing who you are. With a nod, Sarah stuffed her worries deeper inside. They agreed to meet the following week to discuss their next steps, brainstorming ideas for making the event truly special. As they exited the diner, the first drops of rain began to fall, a refreshing contrast to the heavy humidity. Thunder rumbled in the distance but felt miles away. They were scattered, yet each of them found momentum in their shared purpose. The tight-knit community was coming together, each person ready to add a thread to the intricate tapestry of their lives, woven from words, dreams, and the courage to be vulnerable. Just as they stepped out into the drizzle, Sarah spotted a familiar figure standing under the awning across the street. "Is that?" she started to say, recognizing the tall silhouette. A mix of hope and apprehension washed over her. Would he see the warmth in the community's embrace? Would he support her when it mattered most? The figure turned slightly, catching the light. It was Ben, her childhood friend, someone who had always been treading the fine line between brother and something more. What would happen next? Would he be the support she desperately needed to face her fears, or would he add another layer of uncertainty as she stepped into the spotlight of her own making? The rain fell gently, creating a soothing melody that mingled with the laughter of her friends as they dashed toward the car. Sarah's heart raced, torn between the excitement of her newfound purpose and the unresolved questions in her mind. Ben's figure slowly approached, each step drawing him closer to her. Did he see her joy? Did he recognize the bubbling anticipation that threatened to burst from within her? "Sarah!" he called out, his voice a mix of surprise and warmth. She felt a rush of giddiness rise in her. She hadn't seen Ben in weeks, and as much as she tried to subdue her emotions, seeing him made all her feelings surge to the surface. "Hey!" she managed, forcing a calm smile, though her heart skipped at the idea of standing face to face. "What are you doing out in this weather?" "I came to find you and your friends. I heard about the event." A hint of curiosity danced in his eyes. "What's this all about?" Suddenly, the weight of her project loomed large again. Her voice faltered, but then bravely, she said, "We're creating a community anthology. Everyone can share their favorite stories, poems, whatever inspires them. I'm gathering submissions." His eyebrows shot up, and an impressive smile spread across his face. "That's amazing, Sarah. I love that idea. You've always had a gift for storytelling." She felt a warmth at his compliment but also hesitation. Would he truly understand how much this meant to her? Would he appreciate the weight of sharing her voice? As the rain dripped from the awning, splashing onto the pavement beneath them, Sarah glimpsed past him. "Everyone in town is getting involved. We're just trying to bring everyone together." Her voice barely broke above the falling rain, but somehow, it felt strong for once. "I'd love to help. I can collect stories from the old folks at the diner. They have so much to share," he suggested, his enthusiasm pushing her doubts further into the background. For a moment, they stood in a bubble, the world around them fading to a gentle hum. Her lungs filled with the cool, crisp scent of rain and freshly cracked earth, making her heart sing. Could he really help? She wanted him to be part of this, not just as a friend but as someone who understood her passion. "Really? You do that?" Sarah asked, her voice light as she nudged his arm playfully. A wave of relief washed over her. "Absolutely. Let's make it big," he replied, returning her playful nudge, his smile widening. Just then, a loud clap of thunder rumbled across the sky, breaking their momentary pause and reminding them of the storm. Abandoning their conversation, Sarah shivered as a gust of wind swept through them, but the warmth of their exchange lingered in the air. "Come on, we should get back to the others," she urged, already feeling the weight of the event pulling them all together. As they hurriedly crossed the street, Sarah's heart fluttered. She was no longer just scared and excited, she was determined. She would share her voice with the world, and maybe, just maybe, Ben would become more than just a childhood friend. Once inside, Sarah grabbed her phone to respond to flying messages about the anthology while Mia and Jake began to brainstorm ideas. A moment later, Ben stepped close, his warmth cutting through the chaos. "Hey, Sarah," he said quietly, just loud enough for her to hear over the chatter. "Can I share one of my poems? I think it might fit perfectly." Sarah blinked, surprise lighting up her eyes. "You write?" "Sometimes," he shrugged, toying with the hem of his shirt. "I'd love to incorporate my stories into the event, if that's okay." Her mouth fell open slightly. "Of course. That would be incredible." "Then let's do this together," he said earnestly, locking eyes with her. In that moment, Sarah saw more than just her friend. An unspoken promise sparkled between them, thick with possibilities. They took their seats, the thunder rumbling softly in the background as the buzz of ideas filled the air. Sarah felt a delightful sense of belonging ignite within her. This was about more than just stories, it was about love, friendship, and becoming who she truly was. But as the meeting unfolded, an unexpected message blinked on Sarah's phone. The name at the top made her heart sink, a long-lost rival from high school, someone who could change everything. Would this new twist in her tale bring her community closer, or would it threaten to unravel all the progress she had made? Sarah held her breath, glancing at Ben, who seemed lost in thought. How would he react if he knew? The room was alive with chatter, a beautiful chaos of enthusiasm and ideas, but Sarah felt a storm brewing inside her, rivaling the weather outside. The text from Jenna, the rival, danced on her screen like a taunt. "You're still the same, huh? This project won't change anything." Her heart raced, a mix of anger and the remnants of long-dormant insecurities bubbling to the surface. She wanted to throw her phone across the room, to wipe away that unwanted reminder of high school. But in the warmth of the gathering, with Ben just a few feet away, she held on to it, unsure how to respond. Mia was animated, her hands flailing as she pitched an idea for a storytelling night. "We can have live readings. Picture it, a cozy room, candles, and everyone sharing their stories. It'll be a hit." Jake chimed in with a laughter-infused quip about the snacks they could offer. "I think we should serve cookies. Something sweet to go with the stories." For a brief moment, the laughter enveloped Sarah, pulling her away from the nagging text. Ben, standing slightly apart, watched them with an amused smile. His presence anchored her, made her feel stronger. He was excited, eager to be part of this. How could Jenna's words shatter the joy she felt in this moment? "Sarah." Mia's voice broke through her thoughts. "What do you think? Live readings? You up for it?" "Definitely," she replied, enthusiasm creeping back into her voice. "I love it." As they discussed the details, Sarah glanced at Ben. He was talking animatedly about gathering stories from the diner's patrons. It was easy to see how much he cared. He was the kind of person who lit up the room just by being in it. Sarah couldn't let negativity rob her of the joy that blossomed in their collaboration. Yet, Jenna's text loomed over her. Was it too late to back out? Could she really face sharing her own stories alongside Ben and the others? "Hey." Ben's voice pulled her back into the moment as he crouched beside her, dropping his tone to a whisper. "You okay? You've gone quiet." Sarah's heart raced again, feeling seen but afraid of showing him her vulnerability. "Yeah, just thinking about the project," she managed, forcing a smile. He studied her for a moment, and she wondered if he could sense her inner turmoil. "You can do this, you know," he said quietly. "I believe in you." His words were a balm, easing the tightness in her chest. But could she believe in herself? Suddenly, someone shouted, "Let us have a deadline. We should all submit by the end of next month." Without thinking, Sarah blurted, "What if we make it sooner? We need to get the word out." The others nodded, and the conversation took off again. Ideas bounced around like popcorn, and Sarah let herself be pulled back into the excitement. But just when she thought she had pushed Jenna out of her mind, her phone vibrated again. A fresh message from Jenna appeared, reading, "Good luck with your little project. It won't impress anyone." This time, a fire ignited within Sarah. A fierce determination surged. Who did Jenna think she was? She was stronger than that. But just as quickly, doubt shadowed her enthusiasm. What if it was true? Ben was still watching her, and she caught his eye. The warmth he always seemed to carry wrapped around her like a blanket. But this time, she couldn't let fear hold her back. "Can I add a section for reader reactions?" Sarah proposed, surprising herself with the confidence in her voice. "Let us include a way to get feedback from those who come to the readings. It'll make it interactive." Mia jumped on the idea, excitement reflecting back at her. But underneath the buzz, Sarah discovered a new weight pressing on her heart. What if Jenna showed up? How would she handle that? Would Ben stand by her side, or would the storm of their past shake their new connection? As the meeting continued and plans flowed effortlessly, a tightening twist of fear threaded through her. Sarah had a vision she could see it taking shape, but with each small victory came the shadows of doubt, reminding her of the whole world waiting to judge her. Would she face not only the community but also the ghosts of her past? All at once, she felt ready to brave the challenge, but a small voice whispered trepidation. What would happen when the glow of the spotlight shone on her, revealing the girl behind the words? The storm raged on outside, and Sarah's resolve wavered. Would she allow her past to define her future? The laughter twinkled in the air, a reminder of camaraderie wrapped in warmth, but the storm inside Sarah grew louder. She needed to push through, to silence those doubts funneling in from beyond her phone. The upbeat conversation around her buzzed with energy, but the sharp sting of Jenna's words lingered, clawing at her determination. Mia seemed to sense the shift in energy as she leaned closer to Sarah, her voice low yet teasing. "What's up with you? You look like you just entered a horror movie." With a quick chuckle, Sarah shook her head. "I'm fine, really. Just got caught up in thoughts." Ben stood nearby, partaking in the conversation, and his genuine smile radiated encouragement. In that moment, Sarah felt as if the world around her melted away. If only for a second, fear seemed to dissipate. But the pain from Jenna's text still loomed. It won't impress anyone. What if she let everyone down? The air pressure inside her chest shifted, and she swallowed hard, trying to recover her resolve. Okay. Jake boomed with a grin, cutting through her spiraling thoughts. "So, how do we spread the word about the readings?" Voices erupted, tossing ideas like confetti. Social media campaigns. Local flyers. A countdown on the diner's signboard. Sarah's heart fluttered at the buzz. She let herself get swept up in the creativity, nodding along with ideas while desperately trying to stow away her worries. But then a thought struck her. Hey, could we maybe do a video promo? Something to really connect with the people. Great idea. Mia clapped, filled with excitement. We could showcase our equipment and how everyone can participate. It'll be like a sneak peek of what's to come. The energy shot back up. Voices spiraled into animated discussions, and Sarah felt herself charging with a newfound hope. Yet, still lurking in the back of her mind was that familiar shadow Jenna's voice. Just remember, it's just a project, she reminded herself. You're not defined by it. Yet the other side of her whispered, but what if it fails? Sarah. Ben's voice pulled her back again. This time, he leaned closer, and the world became just the two of them. You're the soul of this project. I see so much potential in you. His sincerity made her pulse quicken. But could he see past the facade she tried to maintain? Sarah fought back the swell of insecurity trying to drown her. Thanks, Ben. It means a lot, she said with a small smile. She longed to believe him, longed to step into the light he showed her. Still, a flicker of doubt stayed hidden. The meeting finally wound down. Everyone was buzzing about the next steps, about writing, about community engagement. As she gathered her things to leave, Sarah felt the weight of Jenna's message once more. Instead of letting it roll off her back, the sharp words pricked at her self-esteem. "Sarah, keep your chin up. I'm rooting for you," Jake offered as he passed her. "Yeah, I will. Thanks," she replied. The hallway felt too confined, too echoing with the noise of her doubts. Outside, the storm rumbled overhead, the steady patter of rain mimicking the racing beats of her heart. Ben fell into step beside her, a comforting presence. "You still with us?" he asked casually, but the concern in his gaze betrayed a deeper worry. She nodded, but the storm was alive in her gut. How would she face the readings? What if Jenna showed up, armed with her scorn? Just as that thought crept deeper, her phone buzzed again. Staring at the screen, dread filled her. It was a group chat notification from the project team. "Hey guys, don't forget to invite your friends. Bring the crowd. This is going to be epic." A flash of determination surged within her, competing fiercely with her insecurities. But it was quickly followed by a lingering fear. What if her friends were just like Jenna, silently judging her? The road ahead felt fraught with hurdles. Would she hide away, or would she dare to step forward and face the audience waiting to hear her story? As the raindrops drummed on the pavement, Sarah took a deep breath. One step at a time, but could she truly handle the storm awaiting her? A pulse of anxiety surged. What if she was living a dream that could shatter at any moment? The tension wrapped around her heart as she thought about what lay ahead. Would she find the strength to share her story? The rain began to pour, each drop blurring her vision as she stepped onto the sidewalk. Sarah pulled her jacket tighter around her, seeking refuge from the chill, though the weather seemed a light nuisance compared to the tempest inside her mind. Every footfall echoed her anxieties, rhythmically counting down to the day that loomed before her. "Are you sure you're good?" Ben's voice cut through her thoughts, gentle yet probing. "Yeah, I just have a lot on my mind," she replied, forcing a smile that felt more like a mask. Ben frowned slightly, concern washing over his features, but he didn't press further. They walked in sync, their footsteps blending, a silent agreement that they would face whatever lay ahead together. At the corner cafe, the warm aroma of coffee spilled out into the street, pulling her like a magnet. She hesitated at the door, suddenly aware of how crowded it was inside. The thought of bumping into familiar faces sent a wave of heat through her cheeks. What if they wanted to chat? What if they asked her about the readings? Panic began to swell again. "Do you want to stop in?" Ben asked, peering at her through the glass with genuine interest, his breath fogging the surface slightly. "Just for a minute," she conceded. The weight of a hug from familiarity wrapped her briefly as they entered. The chatter and clatter of mugs hitting tables filled the air, distracting her from her spiraling thoughts. They found a small table by the window, and Ben ordered them both hot chocolates. As he returned, Sarah absent-mindedly picked at a napkin, her mind racing with thoughts of the readings. She could practically hear Jenna laughing in the back of her head, each sip of chocolate overshadowed by doubt. "Still thinking about the project?" Ben asked, stirring his drink, and the sincerity in his tone made her heart flutter. "Something like that," she said, finally allowing the confession to spill from her lips. "What if no one shows up? What if they think it's stupid?" His brow creased with concentration as he considered her words. "I think you underestimate what you're capable of. This isn't dumb. It's brave. You're opening yourself up." That hit harder than she expected. "Open myself up to what? Criticism? Ridicule? Or connection?" he countered softly, locking eyes with her. The warmth in his gaze sparked something within her hope. "People want to hear what you have to say. You just have to believe in that." She looked down, stirring her drink nervously. "You don't know Jenna." "No, but I know you. You're not defined by someone else's opinion. But it felt like a mountain of pressure and expectation rested on her shoulders, squeezing her lungs. As they continued to chat, the soothing comfort of Ben's presence started to melt the icy grip of anxiety, even if just a little. Thoughts of Jenna began to fade, replaced by a shimmering glimmer of encouragement. Maybe he was right, maybe this could be something bigger than herself. But just then, her phone buzzed again, jolting her from that budding hope. A message from Jenna: "Hope you're ready for this. Can't wait to see you crash and burn." The laughter around her turned into a deafening roar, and her heart sank. It felt like an anchor pulling her back into darkness. Sarah realized she had to face this storm, if not for herself, then for those who believed in her. "I'll be all right," she said, leaning into Ben's confident aura. "I have to be." He smiled, relief washing over him. "That's the spirit. Just remember, it's not just about impressing others. It's about sharing your truth." With that, the clouds in her mind began to part, revealing a sliver of light. Perhaps the sun would shine in her heart, if only she dared to step into the warmth. As they exited the cafe, the rain started to lighten, a small miracle hinting at the possibility of new beginnings. Sarah squared her shoulders, heart thumping. She was ready to share her truth. But what if, in doing so, she uncovered truths about herself she never dared to confront? A thrill of uncertainty surged within. With every step toward the future, she realized she was not just facing a gathering but her very own battle with fear. Could she finally let her voice be heard? The day of the community reading dawned bright and clear, the sun peeking through the clouds as if to bless Sarah's moment. Excitement buzzed in the air, blending with the fragrant aroma of coffee and baked goods wafting from the diner. A cascade of colorful flyers hung proudly around the town, proclaiming the upcoming event. Posters adorned the diner and local shops, all showcasing the talent blooming within the community. Sarah arrived early, heart racing as she pushed through the familiar door of the diner. This space had been her haven, her battleground, her source of all things good and bad. Today, it felt like a launching pad. "Hey, superstar." Mia greeted her, practically bouncing as Sarah walked in. A sea of energy exploded around the room, laughter and chatter ringing like joyful bells. Friends were setting up chairs, arranging tables for snacks, transforming the diner into a cozy reading nook filled with warmth and anticipation. "Remember, this is your moment." Jake flashed her a thumbs up, his infectious enthusiasm shattering the last lingering shadows of doubt in Sarah's heart. "Yes, I got this," she whispered under her breath, taking in the scene. People were here, her friends, family, even a few familiar faces from the community she had once only dreamed of uniting through shared stories. As attendees began trickling in, Sarah felt her stomach twist. What would they think? Would her words resonate? Just as panic threatened to swell up again, Grandma appeared by her side, a gentle squeeze on her shoulder grounding her. "Remember what we talked about, sweetheart," her grandmother said, her eyes sparkling. "Everyone wants to see you shine. These stories, they connect us. They remind us we aren't alone." With a deep breath, Sarah nodded. Her heart was a drum echoing with worry and excitement, but Grandma's words ignited the flame of courage she'd been cultivating all along. She was ready, the room filled with people. Familiar faces turned and smiled, the chatter morphed into a tidal wave of support and genuine curiosity. A microphone set in the center of the room beckoned her. As the adrenaline coursed through her, a rush of warmth enveloped her. Perhaps she was ready to embrace this moment. "Welcome, everyone," she called out, her voice resonating with both nervousness and newfound strength. A hush fell over the crowd, every pair of eyes locking onto her with unwavering anticipation. "I'm so grateful you all chose to join us today. We're here to share stories, tales from our hearts, thoughts reflecting our experiences. Stories that shape who we are and bring us together." She glanced at her friends, their encouraging smiles urging her forward. They believed in her. As Sarah began reading the first submission, a poem from a longtime diner patron, she felt the words flow through her bloodstream like an electric current. Each stanza brought the crowd to life, she could see them leaning in, hanging on to every word. After she finished, applause erupted, igniting the warmth in her chest. Sarah was transformed. She was not only sharing the words of others but allowing the essence of story to become a living thing among them. The readings continued, stories dancing around the room, laughter and a few tears mingling in the air. The sense of community surged, weaving invisible threads of connection. Sarah marveled at how her fears faded, replaced by a profound realization that each story told was a bridge between hearts. When it came time for her own piece, her heart thundered like a raging storm. The moment felt surreal as she glanced around, catching Ben's supportive gaze. She swallowed hard, her voice trembling for a brief second before blooming into clarity. This is a story about transformation and connection. It's about finding your tribe when the world feels obscured by shadows. Each word felt like a leap of faith, connecting her personal journey to those listening. She poured her heart into the words, unearthing emotions she once buried deep. As she finished, the room erupted into applause, and Sarah felt her breath catch. Tears of joy streamed down her cheeks. "Thank you," she managed, overwhelmed by the acceptance, the love, and realization that she had finally taken her leap of faith. As the readings drew to a close, an unexpected voice called out from the crowd. It was Jenna, the rival from years past. Her presence sent a ripple of tension through Sarah's chest, fears flaring up. But instead of mockery, Jenna's expression was genuine. "I'm impressed. You really brought everyone together, Sarah." Sarah's heart fluttered, unsure how to respond. "Thank you, Jenna. That means a lot." The words hung in the air, a defining moment of closure and growth for Sarah. Ben approached her after the event, a proud smile lighting up his face. "You were incredible. What did I tell you? Thanks. I owe it all to you and everyone who believed in me." "Let us keep this going," he said, excitement sparkling in his eyes. "We could host a quarterly storytelling night. This community has so much to share." As they discussed future plans, Sarah felt it again, the surge of purpose, a profound realization that she was not only writing her own story but inviting others to contribute to this shared narrative. In that moment, surrounded by laughter, warmth, and renewed connection, Sarah understood something crucial: it was never just about her. It was about the whole community rising together, intertwined through shared experiences, overcoming doubts and fears. Together, she whispered to herself, resolute. This was not just the end, this was just the beginning. With hearts full and dreams vibrant as ever, they turned toward the door, ready to embrace whatever adventures awaited them next. It wasn't just a community anymore, it was a family forged in words and dreams. So, as you walk through the thick tapestry of your life, remember this journey. Choose courage over fear, voice over silence, and connection over isolation. Now, it's your turn. You need to subscribe now to catch each twist and turn on this channel. This is the moment to show your support with a like. Comment below with your thoughts and how this transformation impacted you, and don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who crave the inspiration only stories can bring.